Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard. Sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Let me do the intro. Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch.
But
I'm Reed.
This is my
shotgun.
No, this is my job.
You let me do this.
Yes.
Sitting shotgun is my partner in podcasting, Richard. Now you can talk.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Let's get into it.
Ghostfacers! We're facing ghosts, where others will not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghostfacers! We're facing nightmare, we're facing dread! Ghostfacers! We're facing faceless, we're facing dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode number 5, Simon Said. Based on the children's game. Yeah, all of the same tropes as the children's game. Yeah, the part where they kill...
It's like that Battleship movie that was based on the...
Yeah, exactly. I like the part where the other guy couldn't see what he was doing but made assumptions, and then he found out that he put two ships on top of each other. That was a great part of that. Today we are joined by comedian Joe Kaye. Thank you.
Well, hello. Here, I'm just blowing smoke.
Oh my
out.
God.
Just like a
I love
dragon.
I also like the smoke and the fans like blowing the smoke around. Like you got a very big vibe going on.
I've got smoke. I've got tea. I've got
my steam. Oh my God, I love this. This is what a perfect the perfect atmosphere for Supernatural. Yeah, but it's like a little bit mysterious and kind of sexy too. Yeah, exactly. That's the important part.
Is it? I can't really hear you on my left.
Let me see if I can help you. That.
How's this? How does this?
Absolutely. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah? Probably should have turned on your mic.
So you want to take this again?
No. I like this. This stays in.
You're gonna keep
Fuck
on.
it. Fuck it. We'll do it live. We're doing it live.
This is exactly what I love. I mean, this is what people come to us for. I think.
Yeah, the high production quality.
Yeah, exactly. And hearing us fuck up live. If anything, they're definitely used to it from the other podcast.
That's true. Yeah.
No, this is great. I've nailed it. Yes, today we are talking about Simon Said, which aired October 26th, 2006.
Joe, where were you in October 2006?
Oh my. Well, I was a real precocious 16-year-old in high school. So
I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, just a loud, obnoxious musical theater fag, just like screaming, just screaming and getting detentions for singing too loud. Like,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Is it bad that I just pictured like Jensen as Dean doing a really good One Song Glory?
Ooh.
Okay, well, so like, why do you have to turn me on this early in the morning? What are you doing now? What are you doing to me?
That's where you need to come into this podcast. This is the thirstiest Supernatural podcast.
That's the goal.
Oh,
yeah.
And this is the show I'm like thirstiest for.
Yeah,
like
were you thirsty for it at the time? Were you watching this while it was coming out?
Not at all. Like most TV just like flew over my radar, under my radar, whatever it was. When I was a teenager, like I was just focused way too hard on musicals to give a shit what was going on TV.
Right.
Fair.
I got into it post college when I had nothing to do, no job, no nothing, getting denied auditions left and right. And I was like, well, I have 22 hours to kill in a day.
Right.
I guess I'll just start watching this thing. And I watched 9 seasons before dropping out.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty good.
That's
the
a
fact
lot,
that you got through like 6 and 7, like
6 and 7 are usually the seasons where
people jump off. Yeah, that's true. I jumped off around 9, I think, too, and then came back later on for sure. But do you remember like what pulled you into the show?
You know what? It might have just been the Tumblr culture of it all.
Fair.
Because like I was on Tumblr a lot, like post college, and it was an inescapable fandom on that site.
Are you telling me that you were a fan of musicals and somehow were in Tumblr culture? That doesn't seem like it adds up.
Yeah, I need it. I needed to know at all times what Jonathan Groff was up to. So I needed.
That's fair. That man is a snack.
Oh yeah, I know.
That man was a snack, and then he did Looking, and then I was like, why?
That's absolutely fair.
Oh my God, you're so on the right show right now.
Yeah, this is absolutely the right energy for this show right
exactly the right energy.
So this episode was written by Ben Edlund. This is the first one, I think.
Right.
Ben Edlund, significant figure in supernatural lexicon, but maybe even better known for creating satirical superhero The Tick.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I figured this out last night doing the notes for this, and I was like, wait, what?
So is it a missed opportunity that the Winchesters never went up against Apocalypse Cow?
100%. Yeah. I couldn't believe it, but it also makes a lot of sense where when Ben Edlund comes in, that sort of like tongue-in-cheek, like sort of metatextual sort of jokiness really starts really forcing its way into the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think he becomes a pretty significant writer in the show too. So
I also I'm going to try not to do spoilers here.
Yes.
But I did almost correct you when you said Ben Edlund. I was like, that's not the name. But I was like, that's seasons away. We're not there yet.
Yeah, no, we've got, for people who are maybe new to this show, he will become a very significant figure, and maybe his name will even be used at some point. But this episode was directed by Tim Lacafano, viewed by an estimated 3.65 million viewers.
Oh, that's a bump up from last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you know what's crazy? I was doing notes for the new Superman and Lois show, which we just talked about on our other podcast. And, we just talked about on the other podcast. And that show, the pilot, guess how many viewers was for that pilot episode?
Oh, I don't know. But I know it's lower than this.
It's like 1.35, I think.
Which is probably great.
Yeah, it's great for nowadays. Yeah. It's kind of insane. Like,
I gotta say, like, I am a big fan of like the Arrowverse shit. Like I really enjoy it. Like I know it's bad. I know it's like not quality.
I don't even.
How have we not had you on for any of the other podcasts? Oh my God.
Yeah, you'll be getting another email from us. Yeah.
100%. I'm watching that I've been watching that entire universe in quarantine like air date order. So like right now I'm watching Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow all at the same time.
Right.
Just
what's your favorite one right now?
Flash.
Yeah. I think that makes the most sense.
The bullet. Yeah. It's fun. It's like just the right level of camp for me to really enjoy it, but also like with some real actual human emotion and drama in it. And I love it.
I'm not sure how deep you're into Legends, but the camp really ramps up on that show.
Oh yeah. I'm in season 2 of Legends right now.
Season 3 is where
can't wait.
Season 3 is where Legends just goes, fuck it, we're the weird show.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. Well, it's everyone's favorite part of the show. Let's talk about the international titles for this episode.
International titles. So the title of this episode was Simon Said.
That's right. So Simon Said, what are they doing around
Based
the world?
on the children's game, of course.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah. Where you get people where you play Russian roulette.
Oh my God.
So who got it right?
Okay.
Yeah, the English way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say probably Brazil. Brazil and Poland. I'm going to say.
You're not far.
Yeah.
So the who got it dead on the money was Germany.
Of course.
Germany,
sure.
Simon Said.
Yeah.
This is
great.
This is a partisan.
It's actually not a game here. In Germany, someone tells you to do something and you simply obey.
Yeah. That may have got us in a little bit of trouble in the past. And then you
play a game of Simon Said and you're just following orders.
Yeah. That's what this episode was just called, actually, was just called Just Following Orders.
Just Following Orders.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. So you were on the right path. Poland is next.
Sure.
Their title was Simon's Saying.
Oh, okay. Very active.
Yeah. He didn't just say one thing. He was constantly saying
It's
things.
happening
Simon
right
is
now.
saying right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Brazil, pretty close.
Okay.
Brazil is he said.
Oh, not even Simon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
He said.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
All that matters is he was a man.
I was just going to say. Yeah. Okay.
That's what you had to
the
listen.
title? Was the title in Spain Simon Thed?
The specific Barcelona region version of it. Yeah.
The French title, I mean,
Oh boy.
this is pretty close to
the
telekinesis.
the French one is probably just like do they not have, is theirs not just like doing what you're told?
No, but pretty close.
Okay.
The French one is under control.
Under control.
Yeah.
I knew that's where they were
Okay.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, if someone tells French to do something, they just do it.
Yeah. They were like, hey, can you guys surrender right now?
Yeah.
They're like, all right.
Yeah. Actually,
Give
we
me
already
that baguette, dweeb.
we were under control. We have no choice.
I like the idea of recasting World War II as like high school bullying.
Hello.
Maybe
We are just
slightly
following.
maybe
We are
slightly
just-
undercutting it. Yeah. So funny. So funny.
All right, keeping it going. The Finnish, under the control of evil.
Ooh.
Yeah. Taking that and sort of, but we need context, right? Because
Yeah.
the Finns don't.
Maybe
just,
it's nice to be under control,
Yeah.
not in Finland.
Yeah.
It's evil.
Yeah, then it's a bad thing, right?
Okay. I like it.
But of course, now we need to go to Italy.
Okay.
Strange premonitions.
Such a small part of this episode is premonition based.
Yeah.
It's not based on that at all.
It's like honestly, it's just the pre-title card part of the episode.
and
is
then
premonition-based.
midway through it. Comes
Oh yeah,
up again.
sorry,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
But we all know why we came here.
Hungry?
Yeah,
All right, Hungry. What you got?
hungry, special power.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, they could just use that for every episode.
I was just thinking that same thing.
You could just call the show in Hungary just called Special Power?
This is the self-titled episode.
Wow. I like those.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Which means we are now on to our featured music from this episode. We've
Okay.
got some bangers this episode.
All right.
We got Can't Fight This Feeling
Oh,
by
yeah.
REO Speedwagon.
Great
Oh,
song.
Great piece in this episode, too.
Yeah. Love REO Speedwagon.
Yeah. Stonehenge by Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Man.
Fell on Black Days by Soundgarden.
Sure.
Yep. Tired of Crying by Lil Ed and the Blue Imperials. Lil Ed's
Lil
back.
Ed's back. Oh, what a
A
weird
name I've never heard, but now is heard twice on this soundtrack.
Do you think Lil Ed like knew?
He must. There must
knew
be some
Kripke
connection
or something.
We need to do a follow up where we've done some research, because if this
Yeah.
pops up one more time, like there's a personal relationship here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Uncle John by Eric Lindell, which is
Okay.
an upsetting title.
Right.
And the last one is Women's Wear by Master Source.
Okay. I don't know that.
That
one.
feels like a German title.
It was
I
funny.
feel like
to
you
go-
started real strong with REO Speedwagon
Yeah.
and then just like slowly petered it out until like, what was that last one? I can't even remember.
It's like with each subsequent song, they ran out of budget.
Yeah.
yes.
They were like,
Oh
they started
shit,
with
we
like,
spent too much on the Speedwagon.
Yeah.
you've got $400 to spend on music this episode. They were like, great, $200 on Can't Fight This Feeling anymore.
Kripke's like, I've got a box and a mic. Let's see what we can do.
God, if only music were that cheap to put on a TV show.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Well, and this show too. I mean, they really blew their load this first season. Like all of the like classic rock ones are this
Yeah.
season.
It's wow, what is that? Like, I can't even begin to fathom how expensive that was. Like, just how expensive this show was in general for them to run for 15 years.
But
Like,
they
I guess,
figured it
I guess
out.
you could do that when you're still bringing in like over 3 million.
I mean, yeah, but
Viewers.
back then that wasn't that crazy.
that
Crazy.
wasn't that crazy. Like
Yeah.
that was like good, but it wasn't like
you were still shooting for fives. Like that's where we were expected to be.
Right.
They just like always like were just barely under the radar, and the president of CW loves them. But
Right, yeah.
that was sort of the other undertone. But yeah, I mean they really got lucky for a long time. But what's crazy, have you heard the show? Like, have you only ever watched it on streaming?
Yes, I only watched it on Netflix.
So the first season you had to hear all of the terrible like substitute songs.
Yeah, but like, see, the thing is, like, I never noticed because I didn't know it was supposed to be there.
Neither did I.
So
yeah.
I just assumed that it's like, oh, okay, this show's still trying to find its feet. It still doesn't have the biggest budget, so they need to have this kind of like generic honky tonk truck stop rock going on.
Yeah,
and I was fine with it.
Totally. But it's like once
then the musical theater nerd kicked in and you were like, oh, yeah, REO Speedwagon, Rock of Ages. Like,
oh yeah. School of Rock, Jack Black. I get it.
Amazing. So TV Guide describes this episode as Sam has another vision that leads the brothers to Oklahoma, where they encounter a man who possesses the ability to make anyone do anything he wants. It's not just called being a white man, but
right.
But there is a sinister element about him that Sam and Dean want to investigate. Oh my God.
Sam and Dean go to Oklahoma and find fucking Joe Exotic. Getting people to work for him.
I need you to kill Carol Baskin. I need you to come over here and wrangle a tiger.
Oh my God. That is incredible.
Don't worry, you'll get your arm cut off. It's okay.
I don't care how played out it is. That is still an amazing joke.
What a cultural moment.
Right? That like is cementing us.
Dean would be like, son of a bitch. He'd be like,
You know who's a bitch? Carol Baskin.
That's
need you to go to Florida. I need you to.
Okay, we're done with that. We're gonna throw that one out of the way.
But before we start talking about today's episode, we need to open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore on today's monster.
yeah, let's see what the lore says about mind control.
Oh my God.
So, mind control very broadly. Of course, we know what it means, but it's a method in which a group or an individual can manipulate and persuade others to conform to their wishes.
I call it gaslighting, but sure.
I mean, I'll get to that. But that definition refers very broadly to mind control. It includes psychological ways of doing it, but it would also like apply to doing it supernaturally as well. So psychological methods of mind control are generally referred to as brainwashing. I should say off the bat that the idea of brainwashing, the way we see it in media, like where like Winter Soldier, they strap you down and then they say like freight train, springtime, and then you just do whatever they want. That basically scientifically doesn't exist.
Yes.
But there are methods of coercion and suggestion and things like that do exist and can happen.
Wait, are you telling me that the Winter Soldier is not real?
I'm so sorry you had to find out this way.
Well, my whole world is shattered now. I guess continue.
At least that
I mean, why
actor's real.
bother?
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan isn't real. They just made him out of wet pasta.
It was actually just a skin shedding from an old version of Mark Hamill.
Yeah, they filled a skin cocoon with wet noodles, and that's
How is this not a supernatural episode?
I mean, that's terrifying. Yeah.
So the term brainwashing actually comes from a Chinese word that means like literally
clean the
like
brain?
to wash a brain.
Oh, really?
Which meant to
wow.
like clean it of like the unclean thoughts. It meant in the sort of coercive way. But the English word brainwashing was coined in 1950 by this like anti-communist guy named Edward Hunter, who was criticizing the Chinese government and like exposing this phenomenon of like the loyalty to the Chinese government. Or whatever. So
that being said, we are full supporter of the Chinese government.
Yeah, we really want this podcast to do well over there. So
yeah, like Disney, we kowtow to the Chinese imperialist government.
yeah. So various American military experiments existed into methods of mind control. They include the relatively famous Project MK Ultra, which used the like psychotropic drugs, hypnosis, electroshock, torture, abuse, and
Sounds
more.
like my childhood.
They used more to test like how you could weaken someone's will or make them more suggestible or things like that. A lot of those experiments were, I mean, not only wildly illegal, but they were like performed on Americans and Canadians without their consent or like ethical consideration or things like that. And the use of LSD and other drugs, that aspect of it was an idea they got from Nazi eugenics experiments during the war.
Whoa.
Which tells you what side of history they were on.
Yikes.
Oh man, have you seen that Netflix doc, the Wormwood doc that they did about MK Ultra?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So good.
It's insane. Truth serum. We see that in a lot of movies and things like that.
That's what I just call whiskey.
You're doing so much vaudeville work right
That's
now.
where I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. So truth serum is generally a version of a psychoactive drug, something like sodium thiopental. It would render people suggestible, and there is some evidence to suggest that you can like reconstruct memories for people in that state, that you can that it'll affect how their brain kind of categorizes memories. They'll forget which thing is real and which was sort of given to them. Psychological attacks like gaslighting, negative reinforcement, etc. They can affect people's judgment and allow them to be manipulated or exploited. But again, it's not technically the brainwashing the way we get it in media, where they like are fully under your control. But supernatural methods of mind control could include like telepathy or mental projection, although generally people like the idea of telepathy as a real thing isn't like the puppeteering thing. It would be more about mind reading or maybe giving someone an idea like Inception style or something like that, as opposed to like fully controlling their movements.
Yeah.
But you know, it could use ESP or astral projection, could be like a magic spell, like the Imperious Curse in Harry Potter or something like that. It usually would require, though, like a huge amount of focus, because you'd be projecting your full consciousness into someone else to control them, right? But the sort of real version is hypnosis does kind of rely on the idea that some people are willing to be suggestible to a degree. And then under the right conditions and psychological approaches, you can subtly manipulate them. You can give them an idea, or you can alter a memory, or you can trick them into thinking something has happened that has not, or that they believe something that they do not. You can't replace their thoughts, but you can steer them. So in a way, mind control is not unlike some other thing. Like mind control exists, but the way it exists is maybe different than how it's portrayed.
Have you ever had the like hypnotists? Like, I remember we had one that came to our high school.
We had in university this, like, he called himself the sex hypnotist. This is such like a Frosh Week kind of thing. Would come to our
is this new information for you, Joe?
What are you talking about? First of all, hypnotists coming to your high school? What kind of fucking privilege is that you got to have some fun watching a goddamn hypnotist making a jaka chicken or whatever it is?
It's Canada, baby.
Oh man, you and your bagged milk and your hypnotists in high school.
Yep.
Jesus.
Those are the two things everyone knows about Canada.
Yeah. And specifically Ontario.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing that everybody knows about Canada?
The bagged milk? I don't know.
The bagged milk, for some reason, that just is one that most Americans know.
That's more of an Eastern Canada
Yeah, that's
thing,
actually
though.
not even the rest of Canada. That's mostly just Ontario, too.
Yeah.
Because we're both from Ontario, and we came to the Yukon, and they do not have that here.
I haven't seen a bagged milk.
No. Yeah, it's not a thing for most of Canada, but it is such a weird thing that every Canadian Ontario kid had basically like a plastic jug that would hold the bag of milk, and I'm specifically sized for that.
Yeah, you would buy a holder and then put the milk bag in it and then cut the corner off it and pour from that.
But sometimes you cut the corner too big and you get way too much milk come out. Or it's too long, you're waiting for it, and then you try to cut it again and then it would get too big. Real world problems. Or you use the mail cutter to open it. Or there's special, you could actually get bag cutters
or you cut it incorrectly and then it was 2 holes, but the middle was still cinched, and you get a double stream of milk coming out of the bag.
Yeah,
I love this reaction that we're getting.
This is blowing my mind. This feels like a huge fucking conspiracy from whatever. Oh, you got to buy the jug, and then you got to buy the scissor. You got to buy this thing. Come on, you got to get all your milk accessories.
Yeah, and then you had to get 3 friends to also buy milk, and then they had to get their.
It was
3
a pyramid
friends.
scheme.
Yeah, it's just a pyramid scheme. It's just Herbalife.
Yeah, it was Big Bag that made it into Ontario.
On the note of the
Big
hypnotism thing, in university on Frosh Week, one of the events that they had was this sex hypnotist, which basically meant he was a hypnotist, but he'd make you have an orgasm on stage or something like that.
Which is also, secretly called a rape.
Oh, Jesus. He would ask for volunteers or stuff like that. But
so consent was given.
Yes.
Sort of, yes.
Here's the thing. So, unlike a lot of things on this show where I'm a big skeptic, I know hypnotism can work on certain people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a friend who self-stated was suggestible to hypnotism. And we sat in the audience and I was like, it's easy. You just don't volunteer. You keep your hand down. But before you would ask for volunteers, the hypnotist would be like, I want everyone to do, it was like breathing things or like close your eyes, think of this. He would just do it, I guess, to gauge who would be a good candidate to come on stage, and she fully went under at that stage.
Oh my god!
And then when he asked for volunteers, she just kind of like stood up and just like she was under.
Oh my god!
She was like to the point where she couldn't make herself not get hypnotized.
Whoa!
Yeah, and that's why I'm like more on board with this. Like I know this is real more than almost any other thing that we cover on this show.
Except for demons.
Yeah, very real.
Yeah, very real. This is a staunchly religious Catholic
she would get fully like hypnotized or whatever. But I remember that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We just we had some kids fake it at our high school, but
and that's usually I think what happens.
Yeah. You have to actually have a good guy, and usually the good one's probably not going to high schools. Colleges maybe, because that's where the big money is. College performances.
Yeah.
That's like that in Vegas. That's where you want to be.
I have never seen hypnotism in real life.
Really?
I've never seen it outside of, I've seen some like YouTube stuff, but or like when a channel that I follow is like, we went and got hypnotized. Let's watch Link eat a tomato.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Is this the thing we're finding out weirdly as a cultural Canadian thing?
Canadians love hypnotism.
Canadians love hypnotism. That's new stereotype. I'm starting it. I'm going to tell everybody.
That and
these fucking Canucks and their mental projection.
Yeah. That and the yo-yo guys. And devil sticks.
Okay.
Devil sticks. Huge.
Yeah. Those are
now
great.
The yo-yo thing I get. That I understand. That I remember from like very, very, very young. But I don't even think it was school. I think it might have been at like the JCC or something.
Oh,
sure,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Wow, what a trip down memory lane. And to continue that trip down memory lane, let's jump into today's episode. Right before we do, we already have some behind the scenes information.
All right, let's do it.
The original version of the story, as pitched by Ben Edlund, involves a deformed twin who convinces his normal-looking brother to be mentally handicapped.
Oh, what?
Thanks to their telepathic link, in the finale, the deformed twin should have eaten his sibling. It was John Chabon that helped Edlund to boil down the script to the form scene.
Sorry, so it was going to be the most insensitive plot ever, and then B was going to end with him fully cannibalizing his twin.
Apparently,
holy shit!
First of all, hate to be that guy, but didn't like The Simpsons do that?
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
on a Treehouse of Horror, they had like the evil twin living in the attic.
Yeah, Hugo is like the kind of. I think they call him Hugo too because they're referencing like Victor Hugo, like the Hunchback thing. Because he's like hidden in the attic kind of thing. Yeah, that's true. I don't think he eats Bart at the end of it, but that would have been
no, but they definitely switch places.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's
where we're starting
for a show that always manages to jump the shark. That would have jumped the shark.
You're absolutely correct. There is not another show in the history of television that's jumped the shark as many times as Supernatural.
Yeah.
They kind of made a thing of it. That was like what they did each season. You were just like, well, there's no way to come down from here. And they're like, oh, but wait.
Oh, but what if we rode a shark and jumped that shark with another shark?
Yeah.
What if we went into your world and grabbed a shark from there and brought it into the TV show?
What an insane idea for that episode. Yes. Holy shit.
That's crazy. Not for nothing, though. I kind of wish they did it. I kind of wish they went through with it.
If only to find out what the Hungarian title for it would have been.
It's the one that's normal.
Yeah.
Well, handicapped brother eater, obviously. That's
You don't have this?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's just called Jumanji. What? All right, let's start talking about this episode.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is also the first episode where we finally get Jared wearing the cast that he had broken his hand 2 episodes ago.
Was it not just last episode?
Well, so he fully heard it 2 episodes ago,
right?
And then he actually like completely broke it in the previous episode,
right? So, like, had to insert a line where he actually acknowledged that he broke his hand.
Children shouldn't play with dead things. Yeah.
Oh, he actually fully broke his arm for real?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, shit.
And so there's like this offhand sort of thing that they had to rewrite where he basically just goes, oh, like she hurt my hand. And then he's in cast in this episode. You wear just like a small hand wrap or something like that.
Right.
It's very subtle, but it's such a weird thing to put in there. And I didn't even remember it happening until I read that what happened.
Not realizing that it would be like a real life thing they were compensating for. It would be easy to look at the show and be like, man, they really focus on the details. Be like, he hurt his hand 2 episodes ago. He still got that cast
right?
on. Yeah.
I mean, this is the show that also really pays attention to the continuity and like the details.
Yeah.
So it's not a big surprise.
God, that show Bible must be the most insane read. That thing's got to be 20,000 pages long, especially when the thing just becomes biblical fan fiction.
Yeah.
And whoever's in charge of that continuity, I mean, insane.
That's my ideal job. It's just like someone just hands me something, be like, know everything about this.
You're like, I guess yes. If I have to.
Okay.
So we begin this episode with an older man walking down the sidewalk. His cell phone rings. He answers it. And suddenly he sees this vision of himself holding a gun.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like he's been cheery this whole time. And suddenly in a deadpan, he just goes all right.
Yeah.
And he walks into, also there's a bus. He hangs up, a bus passes by that's got this Blue Ridge logo on it. Which I think is just an indicator for later on in the episode. So there's a key thing to pay attention to. And then he basically just walks into this store and heads to the gun counter. And I mean, this is probably one of the most terrifying intros for some reason.
It is, and it's also terrifying because
this happens.
I guess this technically could happen in Canada, but I think it would be a lot more difficult for this circumstance to happen.
Yeah,
I think it technically can. It's not impossible, but this feels like a very American.
Yeah, this happened yesterday at a Walmart.
Well, I was going to say, not only that, but I feel especially with the idea that it's just a small town store, where everybody knows each other. Yeah. So it's not like stranger walking into a Walmart asking, hey, let me touch that 12 gauge. That probably isn't going to happen. But the idea of a small town. Oh, hey, Buck. Oh, hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Oh, let me take a look at that. Oh, sure. We had dinner last week.
Exactly.
It seems a little bit more plausible. And this guy is clearly everyone loves this guy. We find out that he's a doctor.
Yeah, he's
the doctor. Yeah.
And even the guy who's at the gun counter is very much just he's almost just curious about because this guy, we find out that he hates guns.
Yeah, the doc even says that he doesn't.
Yeah, he's if you're interested in guns, I'll take you hunting. And he's oh, guns are terrifying me, as he's placing bullets in the gun.
Yeah, he's asking about this gun. It's a 12 gauge shotgun. The guy says something it's for turkey hunting.
It's a turkey killer, but it doesn't leave enough turkey.
He says something like that, which
is also a terrifying sub-statement about gun laws in the States.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. It's it's so funny. But then he's like checking the gun out, and he goes like, "What kind of shells do you use?" And the guy's like, "You use these ones," and like puts them on the counter. And then he starts loading them. The guy's like, "Oh, you can't do that in here." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay.
Everything's fine."
And then he just like turns it on him, shoots the guy behind the counter, and then says like, "Everything's fine again," and shoots himself.
Like, and he's just the whole time he's like, "Don't worry, everything's fine."
It's that really creepy kind of calm.
That is a terrifying intro to this episode. Like, the first time I saw this,
it's not even the end of the teaser, because that whole exchange is something Sam sees in his vision, right?
That's right. Yeah, you basically go right to the gas station restroom where Sam's like splashing water on his face, and the door opens, and basically Dean like sees that he's like coming out of something, and he's basically, all you get is like a whoa, what? And then that's the beginning of the episode.
Crazy.
Like, what a fucking banger. I mean, we always get a lot of pretty decent cold opens, but one, like getting Sam and Dean in a cold open is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But then also to get one that's like this viscerally like realistic and violent and gun violence. Like,
so yeah, there's a lot of things that like kind of put you on edge, I think.
Like one of the darkest episodes, I feel like, at least from the beginning here. Like, because it's just so much more realistic than we usually get.
Because you're also like, what happened on the phone?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Crazy. So now we're later with Dean and Sam, and they're driving in the Impala. And basically, there's this. Sam's freaking out about the fact that he's having this he's having another premonition.
Yeah.
The previous one like came real, and they're just having an argument because Dean's clearly trying to just like play it off like this doesn't matter, like we shouldn't worry about it. And Sam's like this is an important thing. We should go to the roadhouse and figure this out.
Yeah.
And Dean does not want to go there because like that's where other hunters are. We're now finding out that this is like a hub for hunters.
Right.
And Sam's like it's important that we need to go there. We need to figure out what's going on. We need more information at least, because now we have Ash who's like looking for demon things.
Yeah.
Maybe this is connected to Yellow Eyes.
Yeah.
So,
I love Ash. Love seeing him again.
I love Ash. I forgot how great he was. I think,
Ash is, it's all well and good with Ash, but my Lord, was I so happy to see Ellen and Joe. I was fuck. Yes, I forgot these are my favorites.
Yeah.
Like
we definitely pray at the Church of Ellen.
Of Harvell.
Yeah.
Worship at the altar of Ellen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we were saying the difference between our first watch through Supernatural and like a now watch through is like I was all about Joe for a bit. Now I'm all about Ellen.
I'm also very concerned about Joe. I'm very much just like, Joe, you need to get your act together.
Yeah. So much to learn.
Your mom, on the other hand, she can get my act together.
Oh, come on now.
Hey now. This is a family show.
Yeah, not here. This is not. This one's not. But basically, Dean's sort of clearly hesitant about going there, and he's like, you're some kind of supernatural freak with demonic connections, so like you really shouldn't go there. And Sam's like, I'm a freak now, and Dean just smiles and goes, well, you've always been a freak.
I mean, to be fair,
you rascal.
Every time Sam has had a vision, it's been off-putting to Dean.
Yeah.
I know the last time we saw it was about them trying to track down the demon, but the time before that was the guy whose name I can't remember, who killed himself, the telekinetic guy.
Oh, yeah.
That kid that was being like abused by his family, and then yeah.
That fucking episode is.
I was going to say, Dean's always been hesitant about Sam's visions ever since he had one where Dean kissed another boy. That's,
are you telling me that
no,
there's
I'm not gay?
Are you telling me there's deep, like, subtle homoerotic tendencies about
subtle?
This show? Oh no! It starts subtle. It gets a lot better.
I thought
it eventually just starts whacking you in the face with a fucking frying pan.
Whacking your face with a penis, like just
yeah.
I thought we were the ones making the show homoerotic.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. It was already. It's just going to.
No, I can promise you. I could promise you, as a gay watching from the outside, I was like, even back then, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is the gay. When are these two brothers just gonna kiss? When are they just gonna admit they want to kiss each other?
What's great is like
that's also what Kyle said when he was on the show.
Is it really?
Yeah, Kyle was on, and he was like,
watched one episode.
He watched one episode, and he was like, at a certain point, I was like, I mean, they know what the people watching want, right?
They know what we all so desperately want.
Like,
and-
not necessarily for brothers to kiss, but for those two actors to kiss, certainly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Look, in like the Pornhub way where they're brothers.
Right.
Yeah. What if they're stepbrothers? They don't look alike. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, but
do
it's
not
so
look
wrong. But I'm loading this laundry.
But it's absolutely right. Then Castiel walks in. It's absolutely right, and then just closes the door.
Oh, a little hint to the future for those who haven't gotten there. So yeah, I know we need to cool down. Let's cool down and talk about a girl.
Yeah.
We get to the Roadhouse, and Joe is playing an arcade hunting game with this old dude, might be a hunter or something like that.
Yeah.
In which suddenly she gets a perfect score, hands his money to her, and he's like, "Damn, little lady, that was my room money." Ellen comes up and tells him that he should have checked the high scores, which pops up, and it's literally Joe every single one.
She hustled him.
Which what they're trying to set up is that she's a capable hunter. I think that's the idea.
And just if we're keeping track, in this moment, I'm straight again.
Because Ellen walked in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait.
To see if I were there on that set in any capacity, I would have truly pitched the idea of like, but can we make every name on the high score just ass? Just, like what if it's just all 3-letter swear words and it's just, oh yeah, that's obviously Joe. Like,
yeah,
that's really
that
funny.
actually makes a lot of sense.
I like that. Yeah.
Also, now you're straight. All right, easy.
I just meant in the moment.
Oh yeah, I was like,
In the
I'm like,
moment.
you're a little too hard on that straight. So Dean and Sam walk in, and Joe goes over. Just can't stay away, huh? And basically, I think they're trying to set up the. It's an interesting thing, which in rewatching, I didn't realize was what they were trying to do was set up the Roadhouse to sort of be like their hub.
Yeah,
And they
like
sort of
they're kinda
abandoned
like
it
their
halfway
home
through this
base,
season.
yeah.
oh really?
Yeah.
Well, because
I think Bobby becomes so prominent.
We haven't gotten there yet, but Bobby comes back. We only saw him once last season, but Bobby comes back, and then Bobby kind of takes that place. Like Harvell starts with us. We start getting like the network of hunters kind of idea, but Bobby kind of usurps that as the season and the show.
Yeah,
go on.
the show realizes that they don't need a mommy; they need a daddy.
Ooh.
I think quite quickly. But it's
Such a good reaction there.
they realize that. I think that it doesn't work as much. But I forgot how prominent the Roadhouse was in these first few episodes for sure. But Sam immediately starts asking where Ash is. He's trying to like solve this problem. He wants to know what it is. They basically say that he's in the back room. This is where you get the door with the Dr. Badass is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then a sub sign that says in.
Yeah.
Which I forgot about. Sam starts knocking on the door, but no one's answering. And then they have to specifically go, "Hey, Dr. Badass," which then he shows up.
Immediately opens the door.
Yeah, immediately opens the door, fully naked. Strobe light is going on in the background.
He's got like some real great like Doc Brown energy, like crazy genius, like that it's kind of ruining
Doc
his life.
Brown meets party monsters.
Yeah.
So what if Doc Brown owned multiple fleshlights?
We all know Doc Brown created one for himself. He wasn't.
Yeah.
The sex toy, Marty, it's changing.
Marty, it's got teeth.
No, Doc, it's just full. So Sam says they need help. He says, "Well, hell, then I guess I need to get my pants on."
Yeah.
Which is great.
line,
He
yeah.
grins, goes back in the room. Ash is on his laptop looking at Blue Ridge bus line website. So now we're going back to that Blue Ridge logo. It's a sort of anchor between these two separate scenes in the show. We'll see it again later on. And it says that they have a match. As for the logo for the bus is in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So Sam clearly spoke to that he had this vision. He remembers seeing that logo.
Yeah.
And now they're finding out that, it's in this place, Guthrie, Oklahoma. Sam asks him.
But it's the match for like the demon thing, right?
Well, no, it's just that company. So he basically is just talking about his visions, finds that company, and then Sam specifically asks him to check for demonic signs or omens, but Ash doesn't find anything, which then asks Sam to he asks him to search for a house fire in 1983 in a baby's nursery on the night of the baby's 6-month birthday, which Ash is just like, that's weirdly
Way too specific.
Yeah, it's like It's 2006. Like Google doesn't work this well.
Yeah, like that's way too specific. And he's like, that's just super. Why would I be possibly looking for that? Because he obviously hasn't given the context of his connection, because they have to sort of keep that a bit separate, as we're already finding hunters can be a little bit crazy, as we saw in the blood episode.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that they're being obviously cautious, but he's going off to basically look up for those details.
Right.
When Joe goes to the jukebox, we see Dean at the bar, and Ario's Speedwagon goes on.
Oh,
they're really
so
trying to
good.
set up this relationship, which I'm kind of glad never actually happens.
Yeah, they end up being more like siblings, and I think that's better.
She comes off way too
Because
young.
Dean is gay.
Well, that, also that. He does have
Are
to
we
like.
sure?
He does
Okay,
have to.
he's at least bisexual. He's at least.
I'm fully on your side.
Yeah. He's hearing "Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore" and looking at Sam. And Joe thinks
But it's like
about-
looking through Joe, like
Excuse me, Joe, Ellen, your low cut tops are kind of in the way. Do you mind moving?
hey Joe, do you mind taking those slamming tits behind the bar? I gotta go stare at my brother from across the room.
Jesus Christ.
they have
It's better in a later season when they find a different outlet for like the homoerotic energy than just the brothers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
it's a tough thing, because you're right. I mean, it's totally built into the show.
and they know it needs to be there, but they don't know what to do with it
Because
yet.
they know, and the marketing, they knew it was like hot guys on the show, but then they were also like, we can't do anything with them. We made them brothers.
Yeah.
So like until the show finds the other outlet, it's a little weird.
And then they still didn't really do anything with it. They just a lot of unrequited stares. Just
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so there's a conversation basically about this Ario Speedwagon. They're trying to create this like tension between the two of them.
Yeah.
I don't really feel anything for it, but I know what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I think they give it a couple of goes. They realize that
It's not working.
it doesn't have the legs to be like a proper romantic thing, or even physical thing for Dean and Joe. And then they make the right move in a later episode, just shift it to kind of like big brother, little sister
For
kind
sure,
of energy.
But there's a conversation basically where now Joe's clearly aware of what they're trying to do there. She's clearly trying to like be present as part of this hunting world.
Yes.
She says that profile that you have Ash looking for, your mother died that same way, didn't she? A fire in Sam's nursery. And Dean's very much like, one, I think he's very hesitant to open up anything what's going on with their family.
Yes.
Because of one, being concerned about what happened with Sam's visions and like opening that up to bigger problems. So he often in this episode is just very much like, it's a family thing, like fuck off.
Right.
She says she could help, but he replies that they can handle this one on their own, and adds that besides, if I ran off with you, your mom might kill me.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, your mom can go after me, step on my neck.
Jesus.
But they both glance at Ellen, who's standing a little ways away. Joe asks basically like, you're afraid of my mom, aren't you? And Dean's like, yeah, I think so. Then Sam comes in and tells Dean that they have a match and they've got to go. It's like Sam's clearly like, there's a lot of immediacy with everything that's going on. He's so concerned, and I think Dean's just trying to like distract himself.
Well,
with
I mean,
anything.
every time Sam has had a vision, it's been serious and immediate. So like, he's doing the right thing. Dean is still like, it weirds Dean out. Dean doesn't like it, because it's something's bad about it.
Exactly.
You know?
He throws a cold ice water bath on Joe and they leave.
Yeah.
So back in the Impala, Dean's now suddenly singing Ario Speedwagon as if like he had made some sort of subtle connection to her none of us believe is true.
Yeah.
Sam says that they have a guy, Andrew Gallagher, who was born in 83 like Sam, and he also lost his mother in a house fire.
Yeah.
Dean asks if he thinks the demon killed Andrew's mom, and Sam says that it sure looks like it. Dean asks how he knew to look for this guy, and Sam says that every time he's had a premonition, it's been about one of the kids that the demon came after, like Max Miller. Do you remember that episode, Joe? Max Miller, the other sort of like telekinetic kid who like kills his mom, like, or goes to kill his mom with a knife and
He's
like
going
murders
to.
his dad or stepdad.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, like, probably vague. Like, if I put the episode on and be like, oh, yeah, this one. But I have no recollection.
The mom
of it
was
now.
Sabrina's mom from like the 90s show. Too. It was, or they're not her mom, but her aunt. It was like
okay. Yes. Okay. I do remember this now. Okay.
See, I know the way in. The show. 90s sitcom. I get it.
Specifically Sabrina, like I absolutely would recognize any cast member of Sabrina.
I mean, that kid, that's a very different that's a sort of a take on this episode because we're dealing with another sort of like mind control sort of situation. But that episode is pitch black.
It's
in some
heavy.
ways. It feels like an after school special in some ways.
Yeah, it's a really heavy episode. A lot of heavy lifting acting going on in that one.
Yeah, that kid does an incredible job. Yeah, talking about like child abuse and stuff. But Dean basically goes like, that kid was such a pacey little psycho. Like he's clearly trying to like keep pulling away the connections from these people to Sam. I think because he's obviously concerned. But he's like, the point is that he was killing people and I'm having the same types of visions as him. And now it could be happening all over again with this Gallagher guy. And Dean basically just asks him, like, how did you even find him? Sam says there isn't any current address where he lives, but he's listed through bill collection services. But they seem to just like let him walk from obviously. Like there's a list of like clearly collections, but like no actual sort of like legal implications.
And I think that also happens in like the next scene or whatever when they actually roll into town.
That's
like,
right.
One of the first people they ask about Andy, they say like, you're never going to get anything out of him. And they go like, you're debt collectors, right? Like they never seem to. They
get to a diner and they're just like, yeah, good luck. Like they never seem to like actually get anything out of him. So you may as well just walk away. But that's when Dean cuts in and basically says they're actually lawyers representing his Andy's great aunt Lita, who passed away, and she left him a sizable piece of the estate. Sam asks if she's a friend of Andy's, and she replied that she used to be, but she doesn't seem much of him anymore. You can tell that there's like something there. Like she has a longing for him, maybe. But then this guy Weber shows up. With fucking like big best friend energy. Who basically was just like, Andy, that guy kicks ass. Like he got me into backstage on Aerosmith, which I'm just like, yeah. What kid in like 2007 like is like, yeah, Aerosmith? Maybe
I know,
you?
because that's even after like the Aerosmith resurgence. Like Armageddon was like 6 years earlier. It's like.
Clearly, it was just somebody who loved Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney World. Just someone.
Hey, that being said, that's a great fucking dark ride.
Oh, it's great. It's incredible.
I feel like we're just gonna end up having that Epcot episode again of This Is Rad, but I very much triggered into that one. Even just like the like lineup for that one is a great cue.
Oh, great lineup.
Yeah.
Love that lineup.
Going through that queue, fucking you end up in the recording studio and they're just laying down some track. They're re-recording Walk This Way. What? That makes no sense. But Ken Marino is playing the sound engineer.
That's right.
In that scene. Like it's Ken Marino.
Is that still a ride?
Yes. I was just at Disney World in January of 2019, and it is still
you were
there.
Going to say I was just there last month.
I was just there. Oh yeah, I'm reckless.
Mask off, ride the rock and roller coaster.
Yeah, how else are you going to enjoy it unless you're spitting droplets into your friend's mouth? Sorry, that's a future episode of Supernatural.
Yeah.
So they're talking to Weber, and the girl basically just like sends this kid away. They're just like, if you want to find Andy, go to Orchard Street, look for a van with a barbarian queen riding a polar bear painted on the side.
Incredible.
Cool guy. I
mean, immediately setting the tone for a cool guy.
Yeah. If you have a airbrushed painting on the side of your van that looks like a Meatloaf album cover, you're cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fully. There was when I was I remember when I was a kid in high school, there was like some guy who had like taken an old mail truck and like he bought it, repainted it black, and then put this like crazy like basically like a wolf and like a barbarian on it. It was like the coolest fucking truck ever.
That's dope.
Yeah, that guy
just ruled. A big ass 2-handed sword.
Yes.
Like
I know on one of my friends on her car, she's got Brendan Fraser on one side painted on her car, and then the other side is like Abraham Lincoln fighting a T-Rex in space.
What?
It's the best. She's
That's
the best.
incredible.
Isn't that
I'm
crazy?
assuming it's the mummy Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, it's him specifically just in interviews for, oh, damn it, I forgot the name of the
Doom
movie.
Patrol.
I was hoping it would come to me, that stupid movie where he's with this, it's like him and animals or some shit like that. It was
Oh,
What, George of the Jungle?
no. It was
no, he's too hot
Reset.
there. Yeah, no, it needs to be
'Cause he's
now.
shredded.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
It's like
I
Brendan
100%.
Fraser gets terrorized by woodland creatures or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, it's fucked up. But yeah, it's clearly post blacklist sexual assault Brendan Fraser.
Right.
It was him desperately trying to claw his way back into like relevance, and God bless, I'm glad he's there now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Welcome back, Brendan
Him and
Fraser.
Doom Patrol. Oh,
Oh, he's so good on Doom Patrol.
so good. Yes, I need a photo of that vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the license. So we now look at we're at Andy's van, and the license plate on Andy's van is another. We have multiple Star Wars references in this episode. This is the first one, and his license plate is RUOB1.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. Yeah, it's cute. They found the van. Dean comments that he's starting to like this dude because that van is sweet.
It's pretty
Which
cool
is-
ride.
You're getting this is like one of the very first sort of like teasing that Dean is a dork about a very specific type of thing, which is
Yeah.
like this like medieval like 70s rock and roll culture kind of thing.
And he also
He watched
liked-
heavy metal when he was a child. Like
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly the type of dork. And it's a thing that they sort of like they very sort of like touch on it throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
But you find out that he's not a dork about a lot, but the things he is a dork about, he's like fully dorks
Yes.
out about,
Yeah.
which I love. I love that's where you really start endearing to him. Like,
It just fleshes him out a bit. He's not just
God, I'd
like,
love to flesh him out.
oh my God. Yeah.
yeah.
Flesh him inside out.
Love to be fleshed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. You know, I could show you how that looks.
Jensen Mayakel. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Jensen all over my ankles.
Oh, Jesus.
There-
Yeah, there it is. J all over my A.
There you go. There you go.
I got there.
I'll suck the Jensen right out of that ackle. All right, now we can move on now.
Now, yeah, it's empty now. The tank is dry.
The tank is empty. We have to wait another 10 minutes before another go.
It's empty after we just talked about sucking Jensen out of that apple.
So Sam says Andy is the second guy they found like this. The demon came for them when they were kids, and now they're killing people.
Right.
So Dean says they don't know what Andrew is. He could be innocent, but Sam's worried that he's going to be just like the other kids. The demon said he had plans for me, all the children like me. Maybe this is his plan. Maybe we're all a bunch of psychic freaks. Maybe we're all supposed to be killers. Dean says, give me a break. You're not a murderer, Sam. You don't have it in your bones. Speaking of having bones inside. This is the thirstiest
Hey now.
episode. Sam argues that he's already a killer. Like he just, and like he already kills people. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, especially because only a couple of episodes earlier, they had to confront the idea that like not all vamps were bad and maybe the hunter was bad. And they were like, God, maybe have we been doing this wrong the whole time?
Fully, like it's fully like a thing they're gonna have to grapple with. Dean says that those things were asking for it. There's a difference, which that line ever is not good.
Yeah.
Never. That's a line that'll never hold up anymore.
No, do you see the way those monsters were wearing?
Yeah, I mean that specific phrasing is very poorly aged.
Yes.
Yeah.
They then see Andy coming out of a house with an attractive woman in the window. In an interview with a Winchester Radio, Gabriel Tigerman, who plays Andy, stated that he originally auditioned for the role of Neil in the previous episode, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. We see Andy. He's coming out of this house. He's like he's wearing like a kimono or like a robe or something.
Yeah, he's kind of schlubby.
I mean, but I kind of love it. Like I really appreciate his ability to walk around in a robe.
He's got like Lebowski vibes.
100%, without a doubt. Yeah. He just this is not a good COVID moment. He approaches a guy who's holding a coffee and just asks him for it, and the guy just like gives him his coffee.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
We're definitely seeing that he seems to have like the sort of like the Purple Man, like Jessica Jones Purple Man kind of version of persuasion.
But doing it in a less scary way.
Yeah.
But he basically is just like, Sam immediately sees like, that's him, that's the shooter. Sam gets out and starts following the older man though, because he now sees that there's because they're watching Andy, but they realize that they then see the guy from the very beginning of this episode.
Right. Yes.
So he's like
the doctor.
Yeah. So Sam goes to follow him because he wants to see if he can fix this thing before it happens. And Dean stays in the car to watch Andy, who's then leaving in his van, and Dean's following behind in the Impala, which then just suddenly stops fully.
Yeah.
And Andy gets out of the car and just walks up to Dean, which was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, and he starts by like complimenting the car, and Dean's talking about it a bit, and then Andy just like asks him for the key.
Can I have it?
Yeah, he goes, "Can I have it?"
Yeah, he's like,
sure, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely.
And now we know something is wrong because Dean would never.
He doesn't even like people driving his baby.
No, he doesn't even like Sam driving it.
Yeah, like let alone just giving it away. And as he's driving away, you just see Dean like very confused on like, he's like, I know you didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, why did I do that?
Yeah, exactly. Sam's still watching Dr. Jennings. It sees his cell phone ring and the doctor answer it. So, and then at that exact same moment, we again see that Blue Ridge logo on the bus go by. So we know that this is the envisioning sort of coming to true.
Yeah,
exactly. He goes into the store. Sam runs into the store where the guy buys the gun, and he pulls the alarms, hoping that a change in the events that are happening will hopefully stop all of this from going on.
Yeah.
The man walks outside looking confused and stops instead of going in and walks away. Sam thinks everything's okay at this point when he suddenly sees the Impala drive by and someone else is in it. The doctor's phone rings again. He picks it up, and Sam calls Dean about the Impala and says, like, he just kind of asked me for it. I let him have it. He full Obi-Wan'd me.
Yeah.
It's full mind control. So again, like a second reference to Star Wars here.
Right.
A New Hope from 1977, where there's even a line, the droids, these are not the droids you're looking for, which comes up later on in the episode.
Yeah.
Sam then sees Dr. Jennings suddenly walk out into the street and just get full hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Which such a fucked up scene. Like, I was not expecting that the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
Like that, like
which
jarring.
is the misdirect, right? Because you're like, we know what happens in this scene. We watched it already.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Which is like a good way to play. Because you see, I hate the like see the thing and then have to go through it again. That's a trope I fucking can't stand.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's actually the one thing that I hate about Prisoner of Azkaban is having to go through all of that again, like in the second half of the movie. I'm like, there's not enough different here. Like, I like the context, but it drives me crazy.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
So how do you feel about like the Lost of it all? Like when Lost did that time travel stuff, when it's like, oh, so you weren't into that?
No.
Oh,
and I love
that was
Lost.
fully my shit. That was fully my shit. When it was like, oh no, this already happened, and there's nothing you could do to change it. Ooh, whatever happened. Yes. Ooh, I love it. I was so into that shit.
For some reason, I'm just like, I've already seen this. I want new things to look at. And I'm in the middle of rewatching Lost right now too. So that's like a whole other thing. But yeah, it's for some reason a trope that I'm just like, I want new things. Let's go. It bugs me. But this was a good way to do it because it was like they changed enough things. It was quick enough that it wasn't even a thing I even noticed.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. But yeah, I mean, Sam is really confused because he's like, he kept him out of the gun store and he thought everything was okay as the paramedics are taking the body away and Sin and Dean are sitting there. So we go to the diner and Andy walks in and sees the girl and Weber. Weber tries to greet Andy. Oh,
yeah, it doesn't happen.
No, he just fully puts his hand up and Andy just like goes right past him and walks right up to Tracy. He tells her that Dr. Jennings is dead and clearly like looks upset.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I think for us that we're realizing we don't think it might be Andy.
Something else is happening here.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem evil enough and he seems legitimately surprised / upset.
Yeah, totally. It was not something I was expecting at this point. I mean, this is the first time you see something's different. And he basically tells them that Tracy then tells them that there's a couple guys that are actually looking for him in town.
Yeah, and then we see Sam and Dean find the Impala. The keys are still in it. they're sort of touching base. Dean is like, he's got to say it. Like I think he makes like a Bewitched reference or something. He's like, he can't just like twitch his nose. Is that Bewitched or is that?
No, that's Bewitched.
I Dream of Jeannie.
Yep.
Oh no, I Dream of Jeannie's the head nod. Sorry.
It's from the 1960s TV sitcom Bewitched from 1964. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it wasn't from the Will Ferrell, Nicole Kidman.
Or the Will Ferrell.
I'm sorry, was there a one before that? I thought that was an original property. Sam says that the doc had just got off his phone and then he walked in front of a bus, so Sam must have called him or something. Dean still is not convinced that Andy is the type to do something like that. Sam shoots back that Dean convicted OJ before he even got out of the Bronco.
Whoa, what a fucking moment that was. that shit really took me by surprise. It was like, whoa.
Really making a stand. This show is making a drastic stand there.
Yeah, they also straight up had Dean say, "Yeah, but OJ did it."
Yes,
but also is Sam defending OJ? Is Sam like give the Juice a chance to explain himself? The glove didn't fit.
So we must acquit. Dean.
That's right.
I don't know if you listen to Mr. Cochran.
Puts them both in a very weird position. One that Dean is just like, oh yeah, I know a killer, and it's definitely OJ. And they just say it on TV, but also that Sam is like, but is he?
Bonkers.
Insane.
Bonkers.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Oh my God. Jesus.
It really stood out. I mean, what a weird thing to bring up.
The episode is 39 minutes long, and they needed to dedicate 25 seconds of that 39 minutes to talk about OJ.
And keep in mind, they got rid of the whole eating your twin thing, but they kept that.
That was actually one of his notes, Shaban's notes. Yeah,
you were like,
"Where's the OJ of it all?" But the juice is not loose here at all.
Yeah, can we? I feel like we're in season 2. We haven't talked about, a 15-year-old murder for a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's important, right? So he then asks how they're going to track this guy down. Dean says, well, that's not a problem. Even though Dean's not convinced, he's like, I can still get this guy. Don't worry. We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
We get to Andy's van, and they've just located it, as it's not very inconspicuous. Dean opens the back of the van and they look inside. Inside is a disco ball and paintings of tigers on the side.
And also, doesn't Sam find a bunch of like philosophy books and stuff in there?
Yeah. Dean says it doesn't look like a serial killer's lair. There's no clown paintings on the wall or scissors stuck into victims' photos. So
Dean's level of investigation is so low, where he's like, he's not obviously the killer, so it can't be him.
If it's not a full Jigsaw basement, he's like, it can't be a killer.
Yeah, exactly. Dean mentioning clown paintings is a reference to John Wayne Gacy, who was known to paint portraits of his alter ego Pogo the Clown while incarcerated.
Do you think that's a holdover from the cannibal subplot of this episode?
Oh my God. Maybe they were doing like Bundy or something.
Do you think it was just like, just in the notes, they got rid of the cannibal thing, but they were like, oh yeah, we had included this John Wayne Gacy reference, but now it doesn't go anywhere.
But wasn't it Dahmer that ate the people?
Yes.
Didn't Gacy do that too? I thought that was.
I think he just killed little boys and hid them in the floor.
Oh, see, I thought he also ate them.
Yeah, just innocently.
You two keep going. I'm going to Google John Wayne Gacy cannibal.
Yeah, you know it's already a bookmark.
Yeah, sorry, I've already got it open.
Sam finds all of these like heavy reading, like philosophy books and stuff inside. So now the boys are sitting in the Impala. Sam is reading some papers and Dean is obviously eating lunch because Dean's always eating. Sam says he doesn't understand the motive. The doctor was squeaky clean. He doesn't understand why Andy would want to kill him. Dean says if it was Andy, and Sam gets very upset. And he's like, saying the man was mind controlled in front of a bus. Andy just happens to have the power of mind control. You do the math. Dean continues to say that he doesn't see him as that type. Clearly, like, trying to define, like, one, if you have these abilities doesn't mean you have to be a killer. And also, like, maybe there can be people who have those abilities and are, like, he's clearly like, it's not about defending Andy. It's clearly going like, no, you can have these abilities and not be a good killer. He doesn't want to admit that that Sam obviously could turn into something like that.
Yes, of course.
Because Sam's like, why are you bending over backwards to defend this? And Dean just replies that something isn't right about this, right? Just then, Andy comes to the window and asks them point blank why they're following him. God, do you imagine that kind of confidence?
Well, yeah, I mean, in a world where everyone just does what you say, then
exactly.
That's right. White man, right?
Yeah.
Sam starts to so bad out of context.
Yeah, I mean, what's more problematic, the OJ thing?
Yeah.
Or that we've gone pretty deep into both Wincest and like celebrating our privilege.
Wincest. Is that what they call?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm part of a lot of Facebook supernatural groups, and a lot of them have like the rules as number one is no incest,
which is a fair rule.
I mean, I guess.
Jesus,
they're not really brothers.
Sounds pretty homophobic to me.
I just think,
God, I can't imagine what stance we're taking right now.
Let the pretty brothers kiss.
Yeah, I want them to become blood brothers, or at least some sort of fluid.
Jesus Christ.
Sam starts to say they're lawyers, but Andy's like, tell the truth. Which Sam's like, I am. Like, what are you talking about? And then immediately Dean goes, we hunt demons. Sam looks at him in shock.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And he's like, demons, spirits, things that your worst nightmares couldn't even touch. Sam here is my brother.
It's a really great, like, lasso of truth, like the Steve Trevor thing in Wonder Woman kind of moment.
Literally
it's
just
really
like,
funny.
Dean's just still like babbling. Sam's like, shut up. And he's like, I'm trying. He's psychic, like you. Well, not really like you, but he thinks you're a murderer, and he's afraid that he's going to become one himself because you're all part of some terrible thing. And I hope the hell that he's wrong, but I'm starting to get a little scared that he might be right. And he tells him just to leave them alone, and he walks away.
I think it's such a good move for the show to
get that exposition
to
like,
be
out
like,
there.
We need Dean to finally open up about some stuff, but like we can't have it be too heavy
because he's a man and a straight guy, and he's not going to talk about his feelings.
Oh, he's so straight, you guys. He's so straight.
That's how you can tell he's straight, because he talks about how straight he is.
Just FYI, quick John Wayne Gacy update. Turns out he wasn't a cannibal.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
He's not that bad of a guy, okay? He didn't eat them.
Do you know what? I didn't see one reference to cannibalism.
So he's fine. Guilty, innocent until proven guilty.
I mean, that's sort of
I'm pretty sure it's been proven when they found 45 young men in his house.
I was going to say, easy, Sam. We're not talking about OJ here. You can get off his dick.
Andy just tells him to leave him alone. He walks away. Sam gets out of the car and starts following him. And he's like, leave me alone, thinking that his powers are going to work. But Sam just keeps coming after him. He asks him like if his powers started a year ago, little thing at first, and then maybe he got better at controlling it. And Andy's like, how do you even know all of this? And he's like, because it happened to me too.
Yeah.
He asks why Andy told the doctor walk in front of a bus. And Andy's like, what? Sam just suddenly starts having another vision. So doesn't give the opportunity to defend himself. And he basically sees this woman at a gas station who just like, this is another one of those terrifying thoughts. It's like I have like at a gas station. It's like, God, just like pouring gas all over yourself and then lighting yourself on fire.
Isn't that Zoolander where they have the gasoline fight?
Yes. That is
Jitterbug. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What a fucked up scene. I forgot about that.
Was it orange mocha frappuccinos?
That's right. Oh my gosh. That movie is great. That sequel is downright awful, but that movie was great.
Yeah.
It is just fantastic.
But yes, the gasoline, like self-immolation kind of thing is a very scary, terrifying sort of.
Fully, yeah. They get back from the flashback, and Andy says he didn't kill the doctor. a woman. So basically, after this whole fucking gas station nonsense, Andy's really confused about how he knows any of this information. How he knows about, he's like, I gotta get to this woman before she like burns herself alive. Dean's there as well now, and he's just like, why are you talking about this? Like, what is going on? Andy's super confused how Sam even knows this. Sam says he's getting she gets triggered by a phone call on her cell. Dean asks how long, and Sam doesn't know. Andy says he didn't hurt anybody, but they hear sirens coming and a fire truck passes. Sam tells Dean to go and see what's going on, and he stays with Andy.
But Andy's been
adjudicated, basically.
They keep eyes on Andy, so they know.
But Sam's still not fully.
No, but Sam also has this sort of. I mean, he always has it in the show. He always has this martyr complex thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they both do in a way. But Sam is like almost wants to see himself as fated to be evil.
Because he just
like,
assumes it's
going to happen.
Yeah.
Dean, you're going to have to put me down.
Oh, I'm Sam. I'm just a big old sad wiener.
Yeah. You know, it's destiny. I'm going to go bad. But you know who's not necessarily bad? OJ. Jury's still out there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So Dean gets to the gas station and calls Sam and says that she's dead. It happened just like Sam said. Sam asks when, and Dean says like right before he got there, and he's like, "What's going on? Like you didn't even like. Usually you give me a bit of a head start. Like I had no chance to even save her." Sam says he doesn't even know he can't control us at all. Which Dean says that they were with Andy the whole time, so it can't be him. It's got to be someone else doing this. He says he'll dick around and see what else he can find. Sam is then telling Andy about his premonitions. Andy says that it's impossible. Sam says, yeah, the people could say the same thing about you. And he's like, yeah, but death visions? Like, that sucks. He's like, when I got my visions, it was like a gift. It was like winning the lottery. Sam asks why he still lives in a van, as he could have anything he ever wanted. And he just goes, he's got everything he wants. Yeah. That's sort of the moment when Sam realizes, oh, it can't be this guy. Like,
yeah,
he's very happy with his like minimal life in a van. Like,
yeah,
he just wants to like get free coffees and take things. And
exactly.
I mean, still like not great what he's doing.
Not great.
Yeah, still like just taking things from people. And like there's that whole situation with that woman, which we sort of skipped past.
The episode skips past it, and it's probably best not to think about it too much.
Yeah.
I think the best case scenario for Andy is that his power just can also just make people believe him. So if he says like I'm rich and famous or something like that, then they just believe him, and he's not actually saying like come to my van with me. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the best case scenario for what was happening over there.
That, or he would just went up there to give her like a dissertation on this philosophy book.
Yeah.
And he just needed someone to listen to, so he forced her to listen to it. Which...
Yeah, come back to my van so I can talk about Immanuel Kant.
That's so funny that you said Kant, because that's exactly what I was thinking in my brain too. I was literally like, ooh, what kind of doorway can I find to make a Kant joke right now? And then, like,
I can't believe that just happened.
That's funny.
Not your best.
Not my worst, though. So Dean comes back and tells him that the victim's name was Holly Beckett, 41, single, which I don't know why they needed to say single, but
well, Dean's just always got an eye out.
Yeah, that's true. 41 still still out of his range, I think.
Is she a lady? Is she single, lady? Yeah. I like. I only like ladies that I've never thought about kissing my brother ever.
He says. He calls Ash on the way over, and Ash told him that Holly gave birth back in 83 on the same day that Andy was born.
Right.
Sam asks if he was adopted, and he says, yeah, he never knew his birth parents. And he asks if he really thinks this woman could be his birth mother. Dean says he tried to find out that information, but it's locked up. And Andy's like, well, screw that.
Not for long.
Yeah, that finally can use this ability for real good.
Yeah.
Sort of, I guess.
Well, ish.
His own good, I guess.
Yeah.
But so they go to this public records office. Andy's telling an older man that he should go get a coffee, who then leaves. And he also says, these are not the droids you're looking for. Boom, another New Hope reference. They start looking at the information, and Sam finds that it is true. Holly Beckett is Andy's mom. He also finds that Dr. Jennings, the man who was killed earlier in the beginning of the episode, was her doctor.
Yes.
He was there when Holly gave birth and oversaw the adoption as well.
Yes.
Dean wonders who killed them, and Sam says I have a pretty good guess. Holly Beckett gave birth to twins.
Dun, dun, dun. And is this where we cut back to the coffee shop again?
Yeah, we go to the diner.
To that girl that kind of like seemed like she had some warm feelings for Andy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We find out that his brother's name is actually Ansem. They look at a photo and it's the guy who's been calling himself Weber.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because when we cut back to the coffee shop, Weber comes in, or he's already there, and he's like, "Hey, has anything ever happened between you and Andy?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "No." And then he does like a crazy voice and goes like, "Tell the truth," or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh shit."
Crazy.
Yeah.
So the birth and fake
That's right.
name used for Andy's twin brother, Ansem Weber Weems, is a play on the names of the character Potsy Weber, played by Ansem Williams on Happy Days in 1974.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very random, but a thing.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Did that character on Happy Days also have mind powers?
Yeah, I mean, would you be that surprised with Happy
I
Days?
would not. I
No,
would
that's
not
a
be
fair
shocked.
point, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah, he went nanu nanu and told them to do something. So they go back to they go to the diner, and basically he tells her to tell the truth, and then we go back again to the public records office. Sam asks Andy to tell them everything he knows about this guy Ansem, and he tells them that he showed up about 8 months ago and was trying way too hard to be his friend. Dean wonders
Right.
why he didn't just tell him the truth. Sam starts rubbing his head, and he's getting another vision. Tracy's walking over to the edge of a very high dam, crying, and then she just jumps off.
Yeah, and this, I remember this about this episode. This is a great sort of like ending set, like a great location for the end of this episode. Because obviously we get this vision, but we have to go there. We have to stop her from doing this. And I don't know if it's the same dam that they've used on The Flash or something.
Well,
like
it's funny that you say
because
that.
it feels familiar. It feels big.
This is the big concrete dam just north of Vancouver. Other TV series like Smallville, The Flash, Dark Angel have all used this
So
location.
I feel like Flash maybe fought Pied Piper on a dam or something like that. And I think also Arrow fought Ra's al Ghul on a dam or something like that too.
Oh, man.
This is all this same dam.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
And damn.
Damn. Daniel. I was trying to do a Vine joke.
Yeah, that's
Back
we're
at
relevant.
it.
We're cool. We talk and tick.
Kids love their Vines.
Yeah. You guys like Reels, right? It's Reels good.
What about Twitter Spaces? You guys getting into that?
Oh my God.
I don't even know what that is.
Wow.
No.
Are you on?
I don't even fleet. I can't.
I'm on.
I've got a fleet once in a while whenever the bottoming's going to happen. Anyway, let's...
Yeah.
Incredible.
I'll take a lap.
Yeah, no, please. You earned it. Ansem. So now we're at the dam. Ansem pulls up next to the dam with Tracy in the car with him. He tells her that he always takes girls here. Oh God.
Sorry. I did find this line. He says, "I take my ladies here. They like it. Well, I mean, I like it. So of course they do too." Which is
yuck.
I think one of the grimmest lines in the whole series.
This whole fucking
very,
scene.
very bad. I mean, it's certainly
shit.
Thematically, it's not wrong to touch on the idea of consent. We're talking about mind control, but
important
it's a very visceral, gross line of dialogue that is that has probably brought up emotions for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the part especially where he just stops crying, and she just stops.
Yeah,
crying.
it's bad.
It's really bad.
If this episode were like 10 years later and like effects were better, I would have loved to see that tear go back into her eye.
Yeah.
Oh God.
God.
Like that would have been stop crying and the tear goes back in. That would have creeped me out so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So Anson tells her that he knows how she feels about Andy, but he's Ansom's family, not hers. Oh, God.
Yeah, you find out it's not about her. Like you sort of thought he was after her, but it's about him wanting Andy.
Yeah,
like to
take away everything that's keeping them from like being the only thing that they have to worry about is each other.
Yeah. It's
what Dean's always wanted with Sam, but couldn't.
Which again, it's a good little twist. Supernatural's pretty good at those moments where it's like you think it was about this thing, but it's actually just
exactly. That twist is great. Sam and Dean get out of the car, and before that, because they have it's his family, not hers. He says she can't have him. She won't have anything after tonight.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Pitch black. Sam and Dean get out of the car and Dean opens the trunk. Sam tells Dean to stay back and Dean's like, yeah, like I've had my head messed with enough for one day. Andy says he's coming because Tracy's up there. So you can tell that he also has...
Sam's also like double fisting guns in this scene too, isn't he?
Yeah. Waiting to see if there was a double fisting joke.
Sorry, I had it would have happened if I didn't have to cough and mute my mic at that exact same time. And I'm just like,
just you pausing and then saying, no double fisting joke. That's the best possible joke there could have been.
Yeah.
So
what do you take me for? Okay.
Exactly what you are, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
What we all are. Meanwhile, Ansom is telling Tracy that when they're done, he wants her to head over to the edge and jump off of the dam.
Ugh.
He says that she will because she knows she can fly. She won't be scared because you can fly, right? And she's like, I think so.
So upsetting.
He tells her like not to get scared. He's like, you can just say it's okay. And she goes like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Which
now
really
you're
bad.
flashing back to every other part of this episode when they're all saying like everything's okay.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
It's all going to be okay, right? Suddenly the window breaks beside him and Sam is there holding a gun. He tells Sam to get out of the car and Sam tells him to get out of the car and he tries to talk his way out of it and Sam just fucking full cocks him in the face.
Yeah, which is great.
Loved it. Oh, such a fucking satisfying moment.
Yeah.
Drags him out of the car. Andy takes Tracy outside of the car. Sam has put duct tape over Ansom's mouth. He tells Andy to let him handle this.
Because Andy wants to kill this Weber Ansom guy. Yeah.
Suddenly Sam is hit over the head by a big branch. Tracy did it. Andy tells Tracy to stop it, and she stops. Andy looks over at Ansom and asks him how he did it without verbal commands. Ansom says that it's just with practice. Like sometimes you don't even have to say anything,
right?
And he just like you just need to use this and touches his head. Andy goes to attack him, and Anson says, "Back off, Andy, or Tracy's going to do the little flying."
Yeah.
Andy turns around to see Tracy standing on the edge, ready to jump. Anson tells Andy he's stronger than him, and so Andy has to step back. He asks him not to be mad. He knows that it's all wrong. It's just Tracy's trying to get between them. He says they're all garbage. She is. They all are.
Yeah.
He tells Andy that he wanted to tell him for so long, but he didn't. He says that someone said that he had to wait.
Yeah.
It was the man with the
yellow eyes.
Yeah. So there's already this connection that he's already has a relationship with this guy. Meanwhile, on the ground, Sam wakes up. Anson says that the yellow-eyed man says that they're special, that he has really big plans for them. Dean's creeping up behind the bushes with like a sniper rifle.
It looks like big.
Yeah, a very big gun.
Yeah. Huge. That felt like far too big of a gun.
Yes.
Like he shows up with like one of those like mini guns.
Could you imagine? Just takes out everybody. Andy asks why he killed their mother and Dr. Jennings, and he's basically like they all tried to split us up. Just as Dean's loading the gun, Ansom looks over and he's like, "I can see you," and starts making Dean like pull a gun to the to his
Yeah, he's like
head.
holding it under his.
And then just as he has it, you see they flash away, and you hear a gunshot.
Yeah.
which makes you sort of believe that it might be Dean that killed himself. But you see Ansem like fall to the ground, and Andy's holding the gun.
Yeah.
and he killed his brother.
And then when we come back from commercial, it's
Yeah.
Andy covering up his own crime by talking to all the cops
Yeah.
and being like, he shot himself.
yeah.
You saw it. We saw it.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
I'm like, God, they should take that kid with them everywhere.
I mean, really. yeah.
Right? Really, really though.
Like, don't just let this kid sit and be like, ghosts and demons are real. Sorry,
would
now
be
you know.
a
this will
very
come with us.
valuable member of Team Winchester.
Extremely would have made a
Why don't
great.
you follow us in that sweet van?
Yeah, he's just not hot enough to be a third for them. So
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry. We'd love to have you on the team, but you're not quite hot enough.
we're tens and you're
No,
two,
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say you have to be a minimum of an 8 to be on Team Winchester.
Hey guys, I think maybe we should investigate. Excuse me, tens are talking.
Also, you got to be this tall to ride this ride. Andy's like, Tracy's clearly like something's wrong with her. She won't even look at me. Sam's like, well, yeah, she's pretty shooken up. And he's like, no, this is different. She's never seen me use my mind thing. Like, I've never used that on her before.
Well, and she's had someone else use a mind thing on her. Like, it's trauma. Like, she's, how could she trust that what he's saying isn't?
Yeah.
Almost like manipulating women to get what you want is like a bad idea. Who would have thought?
They take some sort of shifty ways to get there, but I think the ultimate message of the episode is pretty good. It's definitely speaking to those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. They talk to Andy, and basically Sam's like, look, here's my cell phone number. Like, if anything comes up, you can call me. And he's like, well, what do I do now? And Dean's like, just be good or we're going to be back.
Yeah, he says like, be good or I'll be back. So yeah.
Be good. If you're a bad boy, I'll come back and
like, ooh, what happens if I'm not good, Dean?
What if I'm a bad boy?
What if I'm naughty, Dean? What if I'm a naughty little telepath? What happens then?
Do you got anything in your trunk for me? Can I get inside your trunk, Dean? So
I'm a ghost. You need to use your iron rod on me.
I'm gonna have some active.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it. A spoon in every mouth and a fist in every Winchester. There we go. There it is.
Wow.
Wow. I wish we were ending, but we have to go back to the roadhouse. Ellen basically tells Joe to go for another beer. Ellen asks if Dean and Sam, if they want to hear, if they want to tell her about the last hunt that they just went on. Dean's like, no, this is a family thing. Dean's like, Ellen's like, it's not anymore. Pulls out a bunch of papers. She's got this stuff from Ash. Andrew Gallagher's house burnt down on his 6-month birthday, just like yours. She asks if it was a demon both times. Sam says yes. Dean cuts it and says it's none of her business. She tells him to mind his tongue, and it's not just their war, it's war. Like, this is clearly something that's going to affect. Because, I mean, at this point, we're like, this is just a family thing. And we're realizing, no, this is a fucking demon, like, taking kids from everywhere. Everyone's involved.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bigger deal than just the fucking Winchesters. This is like,
I mean, we've already met two other people like Sam, basically. And we know that Azazel was going after other infants on the 6-month birthday. Like, we know that factually, so it couldn't just be them. And Ellen is right to be like, listen, guys, we got to know what we're up against. We got to know if we're up against Sammy here. We need to figure this out.
She says something big is coming, and it's coming fast. And then Dean winks at Sam. Sam then tells her about his powers. He tells her that the demon said that he had plans for people like him. Ellen asks if they're all dangerous, and Dean says, no, not all of them. But Sam then goes, yeah, but some of them are, and they're really dangerous. Ellen asks if they have anything else in common, and Dean tells her about the mother always being killed in a fire on the night of the kid's 6-month birthday. But Sam cuts in and says that's not true. Sam says that there was no fire at Ansem's past.
Yeah, where he was adopted, there was no fire there. And then they go like, well, if that breaks the pattern, then like we have no way of knowing how many of these there are.
And that's it. That's how the episode
ends. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow. Big one. Let's share our thoughts
and get a review
and a rating out of 5.
That's right.
Joe,
you are our guest.
Let's start with you. What do you think about this episode? What did you like? What didn't work for you? And if you have to rate it out of 5.
I mean, it's since it's been so long since I've seen an episode of Supernatural, I've got to say, like, I had a lot of fun. It was I had a great time watching this. It was spooky. It was ooky. It was kooky.
It was gooky.
I'd give this. It was altogether ooky. I would say I would give this a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think this episode does, even though it has this very grim kind of subject matter and a very sort of twisted villain, it manages to also be one of those very charming, funny episodes, you know, Dean giving up the car, not understanding why, him spilling all of the truth all at once. And it's kind of like, it's kind of exposition for Dean, but also done in this very sort of flippant kind of way that is pretty funny. That's good. And then, it also builds the bigger narrative, the sort of sinister thing of like,
absolutely.
We don't know what the demon's doing. We don't even know if we can track it anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
But I wouldn't like rank it like that high. You
and
know
we're also ranking these based on this season because we can't compare it to other stuff.
Yeah. Are you
sticking at 3.5?
Sticking at 3.5?
I'm probably then going to bump it to like a 4.
Totally.
Yeah. All right.
Totally.
I think I'm going to just short shrift it from a 4. I'm going to give it 3.75.
Oh, we can do that now?
You can if you want.
I'll give it. No, I'm kidding. Keep it at 4.
I think I'm going to give this episode 3.75. Let's reserve judgments on OJ.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's like. What's shaving a star off for me? I was just like, did you really need to make that?
I was with them on being like with Dean, like hard stance. OJ definitely did it. Weird for the show to pull its punch that way with Sam. Yeah,
very weird. I think that you're both right. I think this episode is a really great concept. I don't know if I necessarily needed another like telekinetic sort of episode like this.
Sure.
I think that may be sort of something that
it's a different sort of power
for sure. And it's an interesting concept. I like the concept as well as a way to force Dean to sort of like talk about his like gay feelings. But but I think that that it's I like the like really dark parts of this. It might be a little dark for the show, but it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that the acting, like the day players in this, are really, really good.
Yeah.
Like everybody is super solid in this. I think. I think they're shoehorning a bit of the Roadhouse in here that didn't need it to be.
Yeah, I think that bookend doesn't belong.
I feel like it undercuts that great ending.
Yeah.
It feels like you're at the ending and then suddenly they have to go back to the Roadhouse and it's just like, what?
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't feel like the Supernatural that it needs to be. So I'm going to also give it 3.75 stolen coffees.
Okay, there you go. Very nice.
I was gonna do like subtle like incest, but that's just in everything, so I can't.
Oh, sorry. Has the Wincest stuff so far in this episode been subtle?
Yeah, we're really like the denouement of Wincest.
Has it just been a light sprinkling of that through the episode?
Joe, thank you so much for coming on here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you
We
so
definitely need
much.
to have you come back for sure.
Absolutely.
I would love to. Literally anytime you this was a blast.
And we're also going to have to do this for another 7 years. So
yeah, I don't think we'll get through all of Supernatural until 2027.
yeah.
I think
That's
we did the math.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
We don't have much going on.
Yeah. And no other commitments in our lives.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you online so they can also thirst after Jensen.
Oh yeah, talk to me anywhere about Jensen Ackles. We'll have a lot of fun. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Charles Kaye, and everything there. Zoom shows, live shows. When that gets to happen again, it'll all be posted there. So
awesome,
amazing, awesome.
If you want to talk to us about this episode, or maybe something we missed in a past episode, or something that's about to come up, because we've got some really great episodes already in season 2, reach out to us through our email.
ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
And we were having a lot of conversations about how attractive these boys are on our social media.
Yeah, we're at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And we've talked a little bit about the DC universe here and some of the shows and things like that. If you want even more of that, we have a whole other podcast dedicated to DC Comics and the subsequent TV shows and movies.
That's right. It's the Dr. DC podcast. You can check it out wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, Joe, you're definitely going to be getting an email from me about that. If you're into the Arrowverse, like you're coming over. Yeah,
100%. All right, say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.